around 2 weeks ago, I received an email from a lovely person telling me that she saw one of my artworks being sold on a listing that didn't seem to be related to my shop in any way. She gave me the link to the listing and told me that I should check it out, which, by the way, I'm so thankful for. Thank you so much for taking time to write me this email and tell me about what was happening. I would not have known otherwise. After reading the email, I went to the listing to see what was going on. The first thing I noticed was that I know this shop. When I was looking for some physical maximalist art prints to buy for myself, this shop came up quite a few times. The second thing I noticed was the title of the listing. It's an amalgamation of keywords: mega bundle of eclectic gallery wall set, maximalist wall art, vintage prints, maximalist home decor, eclectic prints, Van Gogh, Monet. Wow. So from a buyer point of view, this title suggests that I will be buying a massive bundle, including a bunch of really beautiful, colorful artworks for a really ridiculous price of €6.60. If I didn't care about art, I would be inclined to think that this is a great deal. But from an artist's point of view, the first reaction that I had was that this makes it really hard for me to tell who's who. In case one might wonder whose artworks these actually are, well, there are way too many different images to even have the will to dig deeper, which actually constitute a great protective barrier against getting caught for copyright infringement, by the way. The third thing I noticed was the beautiful mock-ups that the shop used to display the artworks. There were so many eclectic looking mock-ups, which definitely made me feel like I want to buy these artworks too. I have to admit that the images look good and they work really well. But let's not forget that these images look good because the artwork were stolen. It's a lot easier and faster to create these eclectic, cool, attractive, appealing visuals from stolen artwork than if the shop seller were to paint everything on her own from scratch. I decided to purchase a bundle from this shop even though I really didn't want to, but I wanted to understand how she was operating. For example, this listing here promised 3,000 different images. I purchased the bundle and then you have to download this file, and it turns out to be a PDF where she put all the links to the folders. There are 3 folders inside: maximalist, trendy, and the TV folder. I went through the maximalist folder. It includes all kinds of artworks from past and today's artists, mostly past artists, so I feel like this is how she is able to get away with copyright infringement, because the past artists cannot really come out from that tomb and say, hey, you stole my artwork, right? And the other folder, the trendy one, include more of pieces from today's. With the amount that she sells on this folder, you can definitely tell that it was impossible for her to have created that on her own. When I read the email at first, I didn't really feel angry. I was merely amused. But the moment I saw my artwork on that picture on this shop, that is not mine, anger actually started to take over. So I straight up messaged the shop owner and very bluntly told her to take down the artwork that she stole. To my surprise, she answered very quickly, telling me that she was sorry, that she'll remove everything. I insisted on her taking my artwork out of the bundle, and that's when she told me that her graphic designer was not honest with her. She then proceeded to ask me to not report the listing, which is really hilarious. But too late, I did report it. I will get into that in a moment. What I learned from this brief exchange was that she has a graphic designer working for her. Aside from giving herself more time to focus on the money-making side of the business, this is another layer of protection against getting caught for copyright infringement. She can easily distance herself from the violation because there is another person committing the crime for her. When necessary, she can put the blame on that person, and she doesn't even have to take the blame because she was not the one doing it. Her message suggested that she didn't know the artwork she's selling were stolen. which I highly doubt, like really. Whether it's true or not, it's just so easy to feign ignorance in this case anyway, because that a third person involved. So what this tells us is that if this shop which made 10,000 sales within 2 years is doing this, then other bigger shops probably are doing the same thing or even worse. Yet they are able to still operate on a platform that was initially created for independent, smaller creators, craft makers to sell their craft on. So coming back to my infringement report to Etsy, of course, I already asked the seller directly to remove my work from her listing, but I also had to report her listing because my work is not the only one stolen. There seem to be other artists who are victims of this shop. Anyway, I found an FAQ, followed the steps that it told me to. In the meantime, I shared this incident on Instagram story with the link to report the listing. Soon after, the link of the listing was actually deleted. The seller deleted the listing. So I only learned that the listing disappeared because the people who wanted to help me could no longer access the listing. Between, thank you so much again for doing this, for helping me out too. The following day after making the copyright claim, I received an answer from Etsy. The email basically said that because the shop already deleted the listing, everything was fine. The problematic listing was deleted, but this shop is still standing, operating with the other copyright infringement. There are all the other stolen artworks, and there are even more victims behind this shop. So I replied with this opinion of mine, telling Etsy that there are more copyright victims here, and to this day I still have not heard from them. I also tried to report the shop as a whole, and no reaction here either. When I think about this annoying situation, I can't help but wonder, how can these sellers so shamelessly steal and operate on Etsy? Is it because of ignorance, or is it because they know that even though they get caught, nothing bad will really happen because Etsy is not going to do any real thing about it? Right now, I am not even that angry because Etsy is not my primary source of income. My livelihood doesn't depend on it. I don't even have enough incentive to fight for the justice, to fight for myself right now. But when I think about other creators or artists who rely on Etsy as their primary source of income, this makes me really angry. These creators want to make more money and have a better life just like everyone else, and they actually put in the effort into creating something cool, original and unique to sell on Etsy, only for that to be either stolen or used as a reference by shameless, unruly sellers. And I do understand that some of those sellers also want to make more money to have a better life too, but that just doesn't justify stealing or staying ignorant over the topic of copyright just to have a peace of mind. I do think that the general global lack of action around this topic does contribute to making Etsy more easily complacent about the issue. After all, these shops who steal actually make way more money than I do, and Etsy directly benefits from that, so they don't even have enough incentive to want to protect me either. I'm just this person making annoying noises in the background while other shops are making bucks, so why bother? But this is just so ironic because Etsy was initially created for smaller creators, smaller craft makers to sell their craft on. By definition, these craft makers need time to hand make their stuffs, right? Yet the algorithm is currently only favoring shops who are able to spend a lot of time to optimize their searchability to establish their authority on the platform. And if you as a creator need to spend so much time on the marketing side of the business to even hope to break through the tough competition on the platform, how do you even get time, like enough time to hand make your stuff? So within this system, art thieves and irresponsible dropshippers are able to thrive because they have more time to spend on pleasing the algorithm, while the smaller creators and craft makers don't. Now, not all dropshippers are equal, of course. I myself, and I think it's the case for many other artists too, use a print-on-demand service to print the artworks because we don't have the equipment to print them on our own, as they are quite expensive. Anyway, I saw a video on YouTube talking about the Etsy and dropshippers problem way better than I do, so I will link the link to the video on the description box if you want to dig deeper into the topic. Well, hello from the future. I really wanted to pop in to say that in no way I am blaming Etsy for my lack of commercial success. I definitely have not been putting in enough work to grow my shop. My frustration really is only in regard to the copyright infringement issue and how it's being dealt with in general. So let's get back to the video. Anyway, what are your thoughts on this lack of action issue surrounding copyright infringements? Has this ever happened to you or anyone that you know? How did you experience that? How are you currently feeling about this issue? I would really love to know, so feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. If you know any of the artists whose artworks have been stolen by this shop or any other shop, I created a post on my blog where I want to actually credit this artist and have a little revenge of our own, and in the hope of maybe taking down these unruly sellers. Of course, if you want to know the name of the shop, you can DM me on Instagram so that I don't get sued. Finally, thank you so much for listening to my essay. If you want to support this little channel of mine, please like, share, and subscribe. I honestly would really love that. Anyway, see you in my next video if you want to stick around. The next video will be in Paris, where I will have an artistic tour around the city. I hope to see you soon in my next video. Bye bye.